Pip is my most played support. Pip, I have played, honestly, he's my second, or I think now he's my third most played character, but for a long time he was my second most played character. And it's funny because my most played character is Tiberius. I'm not a furry, I swear. But Pip, I love this character. This character is so sick. And he's such a cool support, and he has so much to offer, and yet he's so simple as well. He's another perfect example of a character with a very low skill floor and a high skill ceiling. He really does a great job, and he works well for me. He works well for my play style and what I like to do. So, of course, we got to send the disclaimers. So let's run that shit again. First of all, I'm not a pro player. Second of all, this is not a guide. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm just a dumb asshole on the internet, as well as I do not play ranked for paladins. I don't touch ranked in this game at all. I'm more of a casual player. I just play this game for funsies. However, I do want to have a little bit of credibility, and that credibility is I used to play Overwatch, a lot of Overwatch. I was Diamond back in the first year of Overwatch, and I played when Roll Q was out, and I was Diamond in all roles in that game. Don't ask me for the account, it's gone to the fucking ether. Long story. I got to Diamond in Marvel Rivals as well, within about the first week of the game. But my main games that I've been playing in the last couple of years, the main things I've been playing is Tekken, and I'm Tekken King in that, as well as I was Diamond in Street Fighter V, with which both of those are about top 2 to 1% respectively, right? Which, for contrast, Diamond in Overwatch is about top 13%. But this game, I do not play ranked in. I just play casually. I'm just a guy who likes paladins, and I want to talk about paladins, right? So, yeah. So, at the end of the day, take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't know shit about this game. I don't know the meta. I've never looked up a tier list or anything, even in the slightest, right? But because of my experience in other games, because of what I know with other games, I like to think that I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, today we're going to be doing Pip. Pip. So, Pip. How do I play Pip? Not you, because fuck you. I don't know you. I probably don't even like you. If I knew you, I probably wouldn't like you. Because I don't like most people. Let's just get that out of the way. I wouldn't call it misanthropy, but I think that's probably the right word. So, let's start with how does this Pip motherfucker work? First of all, back when I played Overwatch, my most played support was Baptiste, and I used to have a 6-stack that I ran with for a very long time, for years playing that game, and I filled. And as the designated filler, of course, that meant most of the time I was playing Baptiste. So support was usually me and this gamer girl, and that's kind of is what it is. And I think that's why I have a taste for dick now. So, with all this experience playing support, and specifically Baptiste, I've taken this over to Paladins, and I would honestly consider support my strongest role, and I would consider myself, I don't like playing support. Support isn't my favorite thing to play, but I consider myself better at support than any other role, consistently. Same thing in like Marvel Rivals. I played Loki. I have an hour-long video talking about Loki. And I played Loki, Baptiste, and I played Pip. Right, and I've played all these characters at a very decent level, except for this game. Once again, don't play ranked in this game, because I just like playing this game casually. But Pip is very similar to Baptiste, honestly. And I think Pip even came out before Baptiste. Now, I wouldn't say Baptiste is a clone of Pip or anything like that, but the way that I play Pip is the same way that I play Baptiste, and I associate everything the same way as I play Baptiste, and I basically think of the characters the same. They're not the same, but in my autistic mind, they might as well be, right? So, let's start off. Boom, grenades. Very slow, very clunky, very low, 600 damage, which isn't half bad. That's enough to do some damage. That's what, a 4-shot on most characters. But a very slow fire rate at that. Then we have our secondary fire. It's a big explosion. Slows down anyone hit with it. Basically halves their speed, which is not half bad. And then we have this hoppy hop. So jump, and it gives me a super jump and a fuck ton of mobility, which does a lot for my character. And then healing potion. So catalyst, healing potion. heals about 1,000 HP in a big explosion, and also goes through walls, which makes it very good as well. Usually I do the items and the talents and whatnot after I get through most of the shit. But with Pip, we'll start here with this. I only play combat medic Pip. Only play Pip as combat medic. I don't touch any of the other ones. I don't care to touch any of the other ones. I don't think the other ones are any good. And I play Pip as a heal Pip, as a support Pip, not a damage Pip, right? And another thing along with that is a lot of people have this like rhetoric, like even like when I play Pip and stuff, a lot of people just assume you're going to run damage Pip. And I never see anybody play Pip as a support or a healer, even to any what effectiveness whatsoever, which is like kind of sad because I think he's very good and has a lot to offer that other healers really don't. Kind of like Loki. But honestly, I don't think he's nearly half as difficult as Loki. I don't think he's even nearly half as difficult as someone like Baptiste, which is pretty easy too. I don't know. And like I said, this is a very annoying fucking thing that I have to deal with all the time, is when you play characters in an unorthodox way, or you play a character in a way that people don't expect, or people don't expect results from, people give you a lot of shit. Right? I played Loki, and when I played Loki, I got people banning Loki and a lot of shit thrown my way for playing Loki, and people saying Loki's the worst healer in the game, which is just not true. Loki, I think, is honestly probably the second or third best healer in Marvel Rivals as of now. But people either put him as the worst or second worst healer in that game, and that's ludicrous to me. But that's not what this video is about. And then second is like Doomfist. I used to be a Doomfist main when I played DPS, and I got a lot of shit. And I got a lot of people talking shit to me about playing Doomfist and whatnot. And when you play characters who are unorthodox and unorthodox matter, things like that, people shit talk you a lot. People give you a lot of shit. People hate on you because a lot of people are dumb. They don't know what they're talking about, and they don't know what they're doing. Right? But the moment the moment something goes wrong, instantly whoever's playing a character that's seen as taboo, that's seen as weak, that's seen as low tier or whatever, they will not give you respect as well. If anything goes wrong, it's your fault. So you got to remember that. You got to remember that when playing a character that's a bit unorthodox like that, and same thing with Pip, right? So I get a lot of shit about playing Pip a lot of times. That's the one reason I don't play him oftentimes, but I get better results with Pip than any other healer. And I play Genos, Io, Corvus. I've pretty much touched every character in this game for the most part, but Pip I get better results with because I enjoy playing him and I do like him. But people will still give you shit, and then they see the scoreboard, and then shit gets really quiet after that, and that's what I don't like. But run combat medic. Run combat medic. If you shoot an ally, you heal them, right? And then I have a couple cards here. This is the main one I use. Is this one. All the other stuff is more like weightless shit just to keep me alive. And then this reload for the health potion, which is very good. And I put that shit on 5 because that's where a lot of my healing is going to come from, is that as well. But also the combat medic is the cherry on top, right? I do have this one, which I do want to get into. I changed this class. And this looks like a really fucked up thing. It's like, why would this exist? Why do you have this? And I saw this at some point, and I thought, why do I have this? And I remembered exactly why I have this. There was a challenge on the Trials of the Realm that was you had to kill people. You had to kill people with this. And this thing does like 100 damage. It's not even funny, dude. So you had to get the final hit with this thing. 115 damage, I think that just said. It was so cancer. You had to kill 5 people with it. But I did it. I ended up doing that. And that was the class I used, is I made a specific class just for this shit. Which it was just so I could just shoot out as many explosive flasks as possible. But anyway, let's get back to the video. I've been digressing a little bit, which I need to stop doing that. And then as far as items go, morale boost and trigger scent is usually, not trigger scent, what the fuck am I doing? Deft hands. Sorry. Morale boost, deft hands, and then I'll go for rejuvenate, and then usually if I got a little bit extra or I want to, I'll go for nimble. Something along those lines. So, but usually the first things that I'm looking for is deft hands and morale boost. The biggest thing is deft hands because you've got a very slow fire rate and a very long reload speed, and deft hands just eliminates that reload speed. And because your healing is tethered to your gun, a lot of your healing, your like HPS, you could say it, is tethered to your gun. This is essential. You know, I need to have this, and if I have to reload and somebody's taking a lot of damage, that could be the difference between life and death. So, of course, I'm going to want deft hands as my first thing, as well as morale boost, because this thing comes back super fast, and this is probably, oh, I think these guys are immune to CC. But this is probably the best ultimate in the game, honestly. This is one of the best ultimates in this game, in my opinion. This thing is great, and it's just a free kill for Pip. And if you hit a bunch of people with it and your team's there, it can just be a complete team wipe. And in something like Paladins, a lot of these ults aren't massive. A lot of these ults aren't game-changing, but this one is. This is a very strong ult. This is one of the best ults in the game, in my opinion, and can really change games and make you solo games and make you one of the strongest, not only DPS, but also supports in the game as well. So yeah, amazing fucking ult. Amazing ult on so many levels. And like I said, you can kill motherfuckers really fast with this thing. Right, so great ult, because it reduced their health to 1,500, I think, something like that. And they're basically a 2 or 3 shot. So it's very good, very good, very good. So this character in a nutshell is very simple. I just want to basically give you healing like this by shooting you. That's all I need to do. And I can heal, you know, if you guys group up, if a team groups up, the better. It makes me do my job a lot easier. Except for that's too much to ask. As a support player, you got to just expect that your teammates are going to play against you and do everything they can in order to not play with you and not help you out at all. And you got to compensate, and sometimes you got to say, fuck it, I'm going to let that guy die, and sometimes you got to, you know, blur the lines and whatnot and know what targets to heal and what not to heal. And that's something that's important. You need some kind of priority system. You need something set into your head to know who I'm going to heal at what points and what time. This is no exception. So then we have our healing potion. 1,000 health, and along with this shit, especially if I've got rejuvenation going, I can fully heal someone instantaneously. You see that? Same thing with flasks, something like this. This shooting my primary fire here is the throwing this as well as shooting that secondary fire, the explosive flask. They are not tied to my primary fire at all. They do not change my fire rate at all. So if I need to tack on that CC, if I need to tack on that whatever, right, there's no reason really not to shoot the explosion flask. And there's no reason to not stop shooting, pretty much, at all. Because I really, once again, these things are not tethered. These things are not tethered. And this healing flask, or this catalyst, is amazing for if somebody's in a pinch. Like I said, you throw that thing, and it does instantaneous 2,000 damage, pretty much heals someone to full. Right, as long as they're not getting hit within cauterize or something. Once again, there's a lot of cauterize that's going around. You've just got to switch up your goals. You got to switch up your mindset and know just like, okay, I need to wait for this guy to get out of the fray before I can heal him, or I'm wasting my time, and be able to do some damage as well. And that's the great thing about Paladins, is you're not always stuck doing healing, because always being stuck doing healing isn't going to give you the results that you want. Sometimes you got to kill a motherfucker, and Pip can do that too. Pip is great at doing that, because Pip can slow an enemy down. He has that CC, and then he can give you cancer by shooting you. And if you're trying to kill Fernando or something like that, or an ally, and I think I can kill you, I can tack on that damage while healing you at the same time, right? So that's already the first use of the catalyst, is I can do a fuck ton of healing instantaneously just like that. But I wouldn't use it like that. That's how most people would probably use their catalyst at first glance. That's how most people are going to use their catalyst and do that. I wouldn't do that. I would never do that. There's 2 reasons I use my catalyst, because I can top you off like this. If you are in a pinch, if you're that close to dying, I can use my catalyst for that shit. But if I don't have to, if I don't think I need to, I'm not. And I'm not willing to take that risk if I can heal you with that. I'm going to save my catalyst for 2 scenarios. 1, an ally flanking. An ally flanking, or behind a wall, or a sniper or something like that. Someone like Kinessa or something like that. We'll save you for that. Second is myself. I've said this before when I was talking about Loki and whatnot. When I play support, I am the biggest selfish asshole there is in the universe. And the most important person on the team at the end of the day is me. And you are my servants. You are my muscle. You are a bunch of fucking knuckle draggers that all I need you around for is to do damage for me. Other than that, I don't give a shit about you. And if you can do your damage and then you die, good. I don't give a fuck about you in the slightest as a healer. And that's the kind of mentality I come in within as a healer. The healer is not a selfless role. Get that out of your head. Get that out of your head. If you come in here thinking healer is a selfless role, and you're coming here to save people, no, I play healer not because I want to. I play healer because I have to. So because I can't play DPS, you're gonna DPS for me. And if you can't DPS effectively, I'm gonna let you die. Because I don't fucking like you. And you're a drooling knuckle dragger. It's that simple. And that's why Loki's a perfect character from my personality. Pip's not as based as that. Pip's not as cool as that. But, hey. So, of course, this catalyst, the most important person for this catalyst is me. And it's very similar to Baptiste. With Baptiste, you have your healing grenades, but your healing grenades don't heal you, right? And his healing grenades work very similar to Pip's grenades, right? But they don't do damage. You know what I mean? His damage comes from his actual primary fire. But with something like Baptiste, because he can't heal himself with the splash damage on his healing grenades, he needs to use his boost. He has his what is it, his secondary ability or whatever, which is his boost, and he heals himself momentarily and heals all allies around you. And the way you're going to want to use that is yes, it's good for a pinch, but it's also most important for you. And that's what I save it for, is when I need that shit, right? And the same thing goes for Pip, is I'm going to save this catalyst for if everybody is taking a fuck ton of damage, or for me. And that's another reason why I also take this card, because this card reduces the cooldown for each ally hit. And as long as you can hit like 2 or 3 allies, you basically just get a second one. So you basically get 2 catalysts, and yourself includes within one of those allies that it will hit, right? And this thing is a very, very big blast radius, and is very good at doing that shit. But the other reason I'll use it is if an ally is through a wall, right? Some guys, I can heal allies through walls with this thing. So I can't really use that card effectively right now. But, I mean, allies you can... and that's really what makes this thing better than this shit, is because I can't heal Fernando like this, right? But I can do this. And I can really help you out like that, right? And that, I think, is the big difficulty with someone like Pip, is, and what turns a lot of people off from Pip, and what makes people think Pip is a very difficult character, is because if someone runs off and flanks, if someone's doing their own thing, it's hard for him to heal him at some point, right? Someone like Corvus, someone like Io, someone like Janos, or even like Saris or something, it's very easy for them to heal. I actually have to hit my shots. I actually have to be in line of sight of you, and then I have to actually hit you with this explosion, compensate for the angles because of the travel time and all of that shit, which can be a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? And especially if everyone's running off to the 4 corners of the universe, this can really make my day awful. You know what I mean? So it's great. Pip is great to be somewhere behind the tank or something like that. And then if someone like a Kinessa or someone flanking is taking damage, I can still heal you through walls. It's not going to be massive, but it's enough to help you win a 1v1, and it's enough to make a difference, and is more than enough to be the difference between life and death. And then, of course, with something like Baptiste, what really puts Baptiste together, and I'll make a separate video for Baptiste because I do want to talk about Baptiste as well. But the thing that makes Baptiste really special is his passive ability, which is a super jump. And that's probably one of the best parts about Baptiste. Baptiste wouldn't function without that super jump. And this, of course, gives him amazing vertical mobility and gives him a level of survivability, and also gives him a large service area. Well, this thing does the same thing. This thing is very similar to a super jump, except for instead of a passive ability, it's a actual ability. Now, it's not as big as that. Like, I'm not going to get up to this cliff, and one of my cards is to make that super jump a little bit higher. But I'm not going to be able to get up on top of this cliff or anything like that, right? I'm not going to be able to get to higher ground, really. But it does increase my service area, and it gives me that third-person view. So in a pinch, if a lot of people are taking damage really quickly, this can allow me to do a lot of things and heal a lot of people at one point, and be able to basically split my healing and be able to basically heal from higher ground. you know, something like that. It's kind of different once again, but I like to think of it as sort of the same thing. And it's good when we need a large service area, and it's good with alongside, you know, this catalyst, right? And the way that I think about playing Pip and the way that I think about playing healers a lot of times is, don't think of healing as, oh, I need to heal everybody. I need to heal everybody. Fuck everybody. Because everybody's an asshole and everybody's stupid and they're dumb. And everybody wants different things, especially when it comes to something like a hero shooter. Everyone wants different things. So fuck everybody, dude. Everybody's the worst. Think about one person. What do they want? Right? What does this Fernando want? Fuck the Maeve. Fuck the Genos. Fuck the Androxus. Or the Tyra, or Canessa, or whatever. What does Fernando want right now? What's Fernando's goal? And then I'm going to put my mind in the head of Fernando and think, okay, I'm going to do whatever he wants. And I'm going to be an extension of Fernando for now. That's what I'm going to do. And all that matters is helping Fernando reach his goal. That's what matters. Right? And this is why it's important also to not be a one-trick. I could probably play every character on this roster to a decent effectiveness, I think, and get good results with him and be like a carry on the team or whatever. Like I said, I usually do a lot better than the lobbies I'm in because I just play quick match. I don't play ranked. I don't know what I would rank in this game, and I don't care to either, right? But I'm not to brag, but I usually am doing the most. Just gotta jerk myself off there, you know, because I'm arrogant like that, right? But I could probably play every character to a decent amount of effectiveness. And being able to put yourself in the shoes of another player and another person is able, it helps you more than you'd think. And honestly, I say this all the time. What's more important is not to be able to play your own character well, but it's more important to be able to know and play other characters. It's more important to know all the other characters in the game than your own characters. And honestly, I look up more shit about other people's characters than my own character. Something like Brian or Urian and stuff, I don't know jack shit about those characters. I play that character for myself, right? In something like a fighting game. But it's, so I don't need to know all the perfect setups. I don't need to know everything for myself for something like that. But what's more important is to be able to counter other people's bullshit, right? To be able to know what other people want and what other people do. But this is kind of a digressing topic. Right? Fernando's the same kind of thing, right? I want to be able to put my mind in Fernando, and I want to be able to help him do what he needs to do. So now I'm an extension of Fernando. I'm connected to Fernando, right? I'm tethered to Fernando, and I got to think like that, right? I basically, in a lot of games, there's like things that like tether you to other people and whatnot. I'm tethered to Fernando. I'm a part of Fernando, right? And whatever he wants, I'm going to do that shit. But I also got to be aware of my other teammates, right? Throw some healing to them as well. But the most important person right now is Fernando, and he's taking back shots. He's on the front line. I got to help him out. Somebody needs healing. I should be conscious. I should be aware of that. And if things go really south, I can go in, use some of my abilities, throw a catalyst to someone like if Canessa's up there, throw a catalyst to them, through a wall, through a bridge, doesn't matter. I can help them out, right? But most importantly is doing that. And then I can also, if I get really good, I can tether myself to multiple people. I can tether myself to Fernando, and now I'm an extension of Fernando, as well as Canessa. If we already said Canessa is there, I can tether myself to Canessa as well. And now these two are my worlds. And I need to be able to understand what Canessa wants as well as Fernando wants as well. And be able to link myself to both of them. And if I can do that, I can keep both of them alive. That's what's important. That's what's important, and that's how you play support. That's how you do well with support. Is you need to be able to understand where they're coming from. And that's why I don't understand, like a lot of these gamer girls and stuff in support one tricks. It's like, if you don't understand what your allies want, how the fuck do you play this game? And even one tricks and like people, there's a lot of people who just play DPS and don't play tank or support in the slightest. And it's like, and it's clear you can tell who's a DPS one trick and whatnot when you play the game, because they're selfish assholes who don't understand their teammates and don't understand what they want. And if you can't even put yourself in the shoes of your allies, if you can't even put yourself in the shoes of the enemies either, if you don't even know what your allies want, how do you think you're going to know what the enemies want? And how do you think you're going to be able to beat an enemy or help your allies in the slightest if you don't know what either wants? You know what I mean? So it's important to be able to play all roles, and it's important to be able to play all characters as well. And in pretty much all the games that I play, except for maybe fighting games, I have a general gist of every characters, but characters are a lot more complex in something like a fighting game in these games, right? But like I said, I could probably play any character in Overwatch any character in Paladins, every character in Marvel Rivals just came out. I don't know everything about everything, but I know what every ability does. I have the general gist of every character in Marvel Rivals as well, right? So I could probably play every single one of those characters to a decent amount of effectiveness. That's what's important at the end of the day. But you got to be able to put yourself in the mind of that shit. So, like I said, I tether myself to Canessa. I tether myself to Fernando. I do what they need me to do. I keep them alive. And if Canessa has a few nicks of damage and she doesn't need the healing, I don't need to heal her, right? I can wait. But if something's on her, I can throw her a catalyst, but Fernando still needs to be kept alive. I can do both at the same time. But when one needs more priority over the other, I need to be able to untether myself from Fernando and be able to put myself in the mind of Canessa. And basically imagine at the same time that you are Canessa. What is Canessa going through? What are Canessa's abilities? What are her options? What can she do? Have a priority system. Who's more important than all these other guys? Have a priority system on what's more important than other people, and be able to put yourself in the shoes of other people as well, right? But at the end of the day, the most important person is you. But yeah, that's about it for Pip. I think he's a cool character, and that's kind of the general game plan, is I want to work around angles. You know what I mean? I need to say that as well. I need to work around angles with Pip. That's a big thing with Pip, is you got to be in the line of sight of your allies, right? And with someone like Fernando, my healing doesn't have drop-off. Remember that as well. My healing doesn't have drop-off. Doesn't matter if I'm right next to him or all the way over here. Let's see if I can heal him from here, right? My healing doesn't have drop-off here. Doesn't have drop-off. I still have the same effectiveness. So at the end of the day, I don't need to be right nips to nips with Fernando. I don't need to be right next to him. That's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my time. All I need to do is sit right here and have an angle on him and whoever the second person I'm tethering is, right? I only tether 2 people with someone like Pip. That's all I need. Or focus, or whatever you want to say, right? Someone like Mercy, if I'm playing Mercy, I need to be nips to nips with Fernando. I need to be right next to Fernando. I don't have to do that with Pip. So it makes him special, right? Same thing with Baptiste. And I can focus on you here, and I can focus on Canessa, and then all the other little children that are around me or doing whatever they need to do, I can heal them too if they need it. But if somebody's way off, if there's a Maeve all the way over where I'm shooting right here, fuck her, dude. She's got to come to me to healing. At some point, your DPS has to know, okay, I got to come to me to healing. And that's not my fault. If Maeve is over there and dies, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. That's not on me. And at some points, you got to choose, you know. Like I said, there's no hard and fast rules about anything. At the end of the day, as Lord Ishin once said, there's no hard and fast rules. At the end of the day, just win your battles. It's what's most important. You know what I mean? And that's part of the reason I don't like guides. But yeah, that's about it. But yeah, basically work around angles. Work around is getting as much people in your line of sight as possible. Don't just sit on top of another person. Unless, like I said, if like Canessa is up there and everybody's down here fighting, then of course you can sit right on top of Canessa. It gives you a bit of protection and whatnot. You know, you don't want to be able to be separated from your enemies. But at the end of the day, you're slippery and you're small with Pip. If you get separated and someone like Maeve or Koga or something jumps on me, I've got this weightless. I can run to an ally really quickly. It's hard for a lot of characters to catch me, and it's hard for a lot of characters to shoot me as well. You know what I mean? And then, of course, I also have this. And this thing comes back really fast. So don't be afraid to use that just as a solo ult. That's fine. And you've just won that. That's a free kill. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a fucking tank. It doesn't matter. It could be Rom, dude. Rom could jump on you and go, "Rah!" You know, roid it out of his mind. You know what I mean? He's like fucking Hulk Hogan. And then just, I don't give a fuck. Doesn't matter who it is. Just throw that bitch on them. If you need that to save your life, as I said, most important person is you. But yeah, you know, that's about it. That's all I have to say. Peace.